Hello, I'm Rebecca Horan and welcome to A Little Birdie Told Me, a podcast brought to you by rollercoaster.ie. In season 4, I'm going to be talking to a range of well-known Irish faces about being in the trenches when it comes to parenting. On this episode, I sit down with Hannah Saunders, founder of Hannah Saunders PR. When we spoke, Hannah was 38 weeks pregnant and she has since given birth to her baby boy, Brody Beau. Hannah also spoke about her love for her father-in-law, Eugene, who sadly passed away in recent weeks. I really hope you enjoy this episode. This lady is not an easy lady to get because she is so busy, and even busier at the moment because she is due a baby imminently. And I would say by the time this podcast comes out, there'll be some wonderful news. So on the podcast today, as you can see, I'm doing guests of all kind of walks of life this time. And this is someone I really admire, is the founder and of course, you know, runs everything to do with Hannah Saunders PR. And it is the woman herself, mum-to-be, Hannah Saunders. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, and thank you for the lovely introduction. And I'm so sorry I couldn't get in any sooner. As you've said, it has been quite a crazy period in my life. Our work at the agency is busier than ever, and I am, as of today, 2 weeks away from my due date. So I'm really trying to pack it all in so that I can kind of give my full undivided attention to baby when he makes his way into the world in hopefully 2 weeks or under.
You're some woman. I think people talk about you a lot in circles in Dublin for being such a formidable person. You seem very calm, maybe underneath the legs are, but you're calm, cool, collected. You do an incredible job of creating a really wonderfully aspirational Instagram profile, but you're also very, I don't know, engaging, relatable, and just, guys, so gorgeous in real life as well as she is on her Instagram. Tell me a bit about your hopes and dreams when you started in PR, you were getting into PR, or what you did to get there, because it's quite the journey.
Well, again, thank you so much. It's really, really kind of you. I have to say, I'm not feeling gorgeous at the moment.
Stunning.
But sure, look, pregnancy is weird and wonderful and makes you feel all kinds of things. But
it's kind of a leveler, actually, isn't it?
It is.
No matter who you are, it's just all of the nasties and all the goodies and all the. And I remember Glenda Gilson was saying that she's like, there is no. Leave your dignity, like it's tricky and you go
100%.
through so many weird things and you never expect whoever you are to go through that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just wild. I was only saying to someone yesterday, sorry for going off track.
No,
but I
did that to you.
I like, you don't even recognize yourself in the mirror. Like I get out of the shower and I'm like, ooh, who's that?
Who's that? Why is everything like that? And it does, things do come. I do always say wild. We're so hard on ourselves as women because seeing your body change, no matter what the shape was, whether you were always someone who had all the curves and the boobs and whether you were never that person, you were straight up, straight down. It's very strange to see yourself in that way. And it does something to your mind. And as much as we're grateful to be pregnant, it can be very hard. And I mean, Glenda was like always from the modelling industry, everything being perfect and on call. And then the issues that come with being pregnant, she said it was so strange.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel even from a style perspective, and I suppose going back to your question on PR, we would run a lot of media and influencer events as part of our agency. And I was running an event last week and I think, you know, half the guests in attendance were kind of baffled that I was still wearing stilettos. And maybe I am absolutely crazy to be wearing stilettos when I was 37 weeks pregnant. But you know what? It's just me. And I've really tried so hard to kind of not lose myself in the pregnancy. Yeah. And now, of course, everybody is different. And if I had been experiencing tremendous back pain or anything that, I would be in my sneakers. Yeah. But I've never been really a sneakers at work kind of girl. And so it has made me feel nice to still kind of take pride in my appearance, to still plan my outfits the way I've always liked to, and to turn up at my work events. You know, it's my agency, it's my name at the door, and you know, that's who I represent, that's my style. And so I've really, really tried to not lose that, and I've kind of had fun with it as well. And as I said, I think some people look at me like I've two heads and they're like, Hannah, sit down.
I think the identity has to be maintained, or else what are you, kind of just pretending to be different things in your life? Now I'm a mom, now I'm a pregnant. That is what you are. I mean, I've always been kind of cash chic or whatever. So I really struggled to maintain that when the boobs were getting bigger and, you know, I couldn't wear the cool low sling pants because I felt like you had to wear over the tummy ones but I went with it and I made sure. I found it really hard. Now that was with my first baby 6 years ago, to find things that were cool. Really hard. It is. We're evolving a little bit.
It's definitely gotten a lot
but
better.
I used to just wear my own stuff, maybe up a little bit of a size, or a little bit like a shirt open with the top. But you don't want to lose yourself to it.
No, absolutely not. And as I always say, more bumpy, less frumpy.
100%.
Show the bump. Like, I think my mum always says to me, you know, the odd time if I do wear something that's a bit more, probably like what I'm wearing today, she'd be like, Hannah, it's not you. She's like, show your figure.
I actually think this is super cool and really, and like, you're 38 weeks pregnant. I think it's absolutely gorgeous.
I'm at that stage.
But like, no, but it's cool as well. It's young.
Yeah.
But I think what she's probably saying is that was never who you were, fitted with
exactly.
you. Yeah, and that's cool too, because you will go back to that straight away, you know?
Yeah, but it's been fun. And you know what? It's been interesting trying to navigate this alongside a career. But whether or not it's your own business or you're working for an employer, you know, every pregnancy is different. And for me, you know, in my first trimester, I think that was probably the hardest to navigate, because in the PR industry, there really are no breaks. There really is no downtime. I mean, which is wonderful. And I feel very grateful that as an agency, we can say that we are consistently at capacity and consistently very busy. But it just doesn't really allow time for you to lay in your bed, especially as the owner. But you know what? I live and I breathe it, and it's my biggest passion. I love it so much. And I suppose I founded the agency, it'd be just over 8 years ago. I founded the company when I was in London. I was living there at the time. I had been working for a top luxury agency in London. And I just made the decision. I was 25 and I just said, look, I always knew I wanted to run my own business, and the opportunity just came about a little sooner than I anticipated. And so I just grabbed the opportunity and have never looked back. So I think when something is so important to you, and when, you know, I've been able to kind of see year on year growth, I really haven't wanted that to stop. And so again, I've just fought really, really hard to try and balance my life over the last 9 months so that I can still be thriving in business, but I can still be thriving personally, and not letting it take too much of a toll on my health and everything. So it's definitely been, I've really had to be so mentally switched on and in tune with my body over the last 9 months. But I actually think that has helped me in terms of the stage that I'm now.
That's probably the first time in your life you did that?
Probably, yes.
Yeah. It's quite, I think, pregnancy for someone like you, and you know, all of us are different, and some women, it's not that they're not ambitious, but they're much happier to embrace it, go with the chill a little bit, go for it maybe for a few years after as well, and take that time, right? And then other women are just like alpha, I don't know whether it's an alpha female thing, but we just cannot stop, and we can't, it's not within us intrinsically. And I remember being pregnant with my first, I wasn't running my own super successful business, but I was working in media, and it was very busy and demanding, and I very much struggled when people told me to slow down, take it handy, take it in, enjoy. And I felt like people were giving out to me a little bit, like, I don't think you're taking it seriously.
I've experienced that too.
You know, do you love this enough? Are you, and I don't know whether it's a personal question. Did you want to get pregnant? Were you planning that? So there was definitely a path? Because I remember being shocked when we got pregnant. We were married a few years, and it kind of came upon us when we hadn't expected, which is amazing. I was so lucky. And it took me so long to get used to the idea of being pregnant.
Okay.
And not needed by people, and that I'd have to step out for a little while. I couldn't believe it. And what you say there about lying in bed, chilling, sickness, which is hideous, the tiredness at the beginning, it's really hard when you've never been that gal.
Oh, it's crazy. I honestly felt like a zombie. At times I felt I'm probably not safe to drive. The tiredness was that bad. But you know what, I was very open with my team, you know, as soon as I kind of felt comfortable telling people outside of my immediate friends and family that I was pregnant. And I kind of started to start my work days. I'd be on the laptop from 6 a.m. because I could actually function really, really well in the morning. Mm-hmm. The evenings, I was written off. And my husband, if I was working from home, he'd often come into the kitchen, and I'd honestly be asleep at my laptop with my hands on the keyboard, but my head down. Yeah. And he'd be like, Hannah, you just have to give in. So I just got into a bit of a rhythm of, look, if you need to take a nap, take a nap. You know, the work is going to get done. And I suppose as a business owner, I have this kind of dialogue with my team the whole time is that I don't care what hours they get their work done once they get the work
There's
done.
none of this micromanaging. You have to be in the office.
God, no.
Yeah. I think it's important. Yeah.
Obviously, there's certain days when we have deadlines or meetings or interviews and that kind of thing, and obviously that has to happen at certain times. But outside of that, if like I've one of the girls on the team lives and commutes from Mullingar. And so she tends to start her day earlier and then go home before rush hour and that kind of thing. And I always say to the girls, if you want to work from the hair salon, work from the hair salon. I don't care.
The flexibility is important.
Yeah. So I had to take that on board myself, because I would have a nap, even if it was for 40 minutes, and I'd be like, oh no, what have I missed? But you actually don't miss anything. You just have to kind of rejig your routine a little bit. And to be honest, I've always been quite a morning person. So I guess I was lucky that my mornings weren't so drastically impacted. But as I said, my evenings and late afternoons, I was crippled with the fatigue. I wouldn't, I like if I was invited to an event, I simply would not have been able to go. I was absolutely written off. And I think it wasn't until I sort of came out of that phase that I realized how bad it was.
Yeah.
When you start to feel good again, that's when you really appreciate it.
Because you think it's going to be 9 months of it and you're actually really not enjoying it.
No.
Yeah.
And you know what? So, and this is like, I suppose there's a lot of kind of scaremongering in pregnancy too, and everybody thinks they know everything about pregnancy. And so many people did say to me, you'll have a great second trimester, but it's all going to come back and bite you in the bum in the third trimester. So enjoy it while you can. I can say it hasn't.
No.
I'm 38 weeks and I'm feeling full of energy.
Yeah.
And
I didn't find the last two that bad. First was hideous.
Yeah, it hasn't come back.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's...
We do scaremonger, but I do also think honesty is good too with labour, pregnancy and raising babies, because everything's romanticised and everything's a Pampers ad. Yeah. And it's also important to be kindly honest, you know?
Yeah.
Because I would agree, up to 15 weeks with Simone, I actually was like, I'm going to have to be hospitalised. I was on a drip. I was puking a lot. I thought there was something wrong with me and the baby. And of course, it just changed one day. And then I was
the same. I got sick in Brown Thomas one day. I didn't even make it to the toilet. It was so embarrassing. And it happens.
They knew you weren't a drunk though. They were like, she looks beautiful.
I was mortified. I remember being like, please hand me the mop. Like, it was awful. I remember I was at a client meeting. I had to run out the door because I didn't have like the constant nausea. It just come on. I'd be driving in the car and I'd be throwing my head out the window. I'd be walking the dog in the park and I'd be jumping into a bush. Like, it was not glamorous. And I suppose they're the things that I suppose you don't really share on Instagram, I guess. But for me, you just referenced there, everything's a bit of a Pampers ad. I think sometimes it can help you to embrace that sort of Pampers ad mentality, because but everyone's different. But for me, I suppose the reality of the tough situations just doesn't help my head.
No.
And so I think sometimes, as much as people are trying to be very, very real, and I don't know if you follow Instagram accounts like Badass Mothers and stuff like that. You know, one of my best friends, and she's an absolute, she's incredible. She gave birth 8 weeks ago and did it so phenomenally with the best attitude in the world. And she loves that Badass Mothers Instagram. So she was like, Hannah, you have to look at it. I looked at it for about 2 minutes and I was like, I'm going to be sick.
No.
I was like, I just can't. No. And I know it's incredible and I know the female body is amazing.
No.
But no, I'm kind of
with you on, I mean, I'm all for real chats. This last season of the podcast was a lot of reality about fertility, pregnancy loss, labour, right? And I'm all for getting down and dirty with reality. Like, I'm not a complete fantasist, but I do agree with you that there is only so much, like, you're right. I would get sick on the way to work in Ranelagh and I'd be so mizzed that morning, but you would see a lovely photo of my bump outfit later.
Yes.
And the gals bringing me for their baby shower lunch, or silly things about me doing up the thing. And meanwhile, I'd have had a fight with Jason because I was super cranky.
Yes.
I think a little bit of everything is nice, and you can tone it in with, like, you can give birth to this baby now and go, actually the pregnancy was really tricky. But I agree, I don't think we need to saturate, and I don't think it helps your own mental health. I'm not sure when I reveal so much it really helps, actually. So you have to stay in your light as well.
And I suppose, like, I love kind of connecting with, say, my community on Instagram, and
and I'd say you found a new one. Have you kind of reached out?
For sure. And there's little things like, I've been the first person that certain people have told that they're pregnant. Cute. You know, that way, like, I get messages from women saying, like, I've literally just done the pregnancy test.
You're like, tell your husband.
I know. They're like, I'm in shock. How do I navigate this? Who do I tell? When do I tell? And so, it's mad. You have this complete offline community. And, when you get messages from women saying, do you know what, I've been feeling so crap, but kind of seeing you be positive about it is helping me. And I'd just rather be that person.
And suck it up and put your outfit on.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to just put the best foot.
Yeah.
And very much in what you do, that essence of public relations and communications and your clients, like it is sometimes just get up and get on, because this is how the world works. This is how we make our money. This is how we can't always just let it go, because when we do let go, often we fall.
Yeah, for sure.
Deep, you know.
And, you know, as I think we were briefly chatting before recording, you know, I was saying because I'm feeling good, I'm happy to still be giving work my all, so that when the baby does arrive, I can then genuinely take time off, which I will absolutely be doing. I'm not one of these people that are going to say, you know, well, my team joke with me and say I'll have the laptop in the bed in Hollis Street. But I think it is so important, no matter what your work situation is, you know, whether you are running a company of 400 people or running a company of 5 people like me, I think it is so important to take time off. And you know what? I'm so blessed. Like, my clients are the nicest people in the world. They've all been so encouraging. I'm getting emails from them now, been like, we really hope you can switch off now, Hannah. So, you know, I'm in a really lovely position that I have a great team, I have great clients, and I am going to take that time off because I will absolutely need it. But I haven't felt like I've needed it so far. So I'm just cracking on.
Are you scared of, so obviously labour, baby comes. Yeah. Are you scared of
labour?
No. Stepping away a bit, relinquishing control a bit? Are you scared of your career? Like, or do you feel like you are always going to be a super driven, ambitious, successful woman despite children?
Yeah,
as in, that's such a good thing for them to see, and you're such a role model. Or do you think it's going to soften you and change you? Like, are you worried about that? I was very worried about that.
Yeah, I think I am. I think I've thought about it a lot of who am I going to be in let's say 3 weeks time, realistically,
or 3 months time when things
or 3
are,
months time. But yeah, because I've always just been Hannah, and then Hannah the business owner, and then I'm going to be Hannah the business owner and the mum. But to be honest, there are so many women that I look up to and that I admire that are doing it all.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have to choose whether to have a career and whether to be a mom. I think people are proving day in, day out that it is possible to do both. There are people that don't want to do both. Yes. But I will put my hand up and say that's never been me. I've never, ever, ever wanted to be a mom full-time. And by the way, moms full-time are phenomenal. And, you know, I always say, you know, it's important to say things like, I may not work outside the home, but you're absolutely working. It is a full-time commitment.
It's just recognised on LinkedIn as a career. So if you're someone who goes to a company for a marketing job or whatever, and you had 5 years perhaps working within the home, they see the skill set and it's now being rewarded, which is amazing. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's taken 90,000 years.
Yeah. but that's the thing. Things are progressing. I guess I've always been a bit of a multitasker. And, you know, my sister often says to me, do you have more hours in the day than anybody else? And how does this work? And so I'm kind of excited for the challenge a little bit. I know it will be overwhelming at times, and, you know, little things like the childcare situation at the moment. I'm on, I think, something like 11 waiting lists to get them in.
So you will be, you know, staying home for a bit, but also then endeavouring to try and have some kind of childcare.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So that is, because I was very much like that. And I remember getting a lot of negative Nancy's about how you should be at home within the first 2 years for their development. And then everyone was like, BS, they need socialisation.
You can never stop the negative Nancy's. They are everywhere. And
she loved her crash and her crack. Oh my God, loved it.
They will always be everywhere. And
but that is the hope, that there's some kind of childcare.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think before we can get him into like a creche, a local creche, we will be looking to have care at home. Yeah. Because it's really my only option. Also, I don't feel like my mum Jean and my mother-in-law Val are two incredible women. They are so excited for this baby, and, you know, they're going to be so supportive and amazing. But I don't feel like it's either of their roles to be my nanny. They raised their children already. They're in their early 60s. They're both thriving. They both enjoy their travel. They both have fabulous social lives. And I just have never, ever expected or asked that they would become carers to my child. So it's just not something I've looked into. So, you know.
But even if the financial independence, even if there was so much money you could swim in it and you didn't need to work for 5, you would want to work. Am I correct?
100%.
Yeah, it's not just about all of the double incomes and the
I've always said, even if I win the lotto, I'll still be working.
Same, okay.
Because if you think
and your
about
husband
it,
works full time.
He does. And that's the thing, I'm self-employed, and Richie, I think with his company, gets like 2 weeks off, I think is what you get. So we just don't have an option. So I suppose from kind of January, I'll be starting back at work. And I'm going to ease my way in a couple of days a week. Hopefully we'll have found someone who's fantastic for our baby at that stage. And then we'll just work it out, because that's all you can do. I don't think anyone knows what the hell they're doing. So we'll just be winging it. And
I think it'll be, from a perspective, and I know I don't know you, but I think it'll be good for you and your parenting, if that's who you are. It sounds similar to women I'm friendly with. Yeah. If you do work, because I think sometimes we can get lost in that. And if that's your identity, but also you're a mum, you'll need to do a bit of both.
Yes.
To keep sane. And I think what happened is I tried to with the second baby, because the first I had a lot of guilt over putting her in crash too young and working and being too hungry. But we had just bought a home and we had to. And I think with the second I was like, I'm going to go all in. Bake and breastfeed for 9 years and lose myself in it, because I'm never doing it again. And I did lose myself in it. And I do remember being like, I remember pushing her in Paraskort down the estate on my own one lonely day. No one's really on phone. Everyone's working or everyone's busy, or my mum had her own stuff. And I would agree, I don't think you should be relying on others to. And I was like, I need to start having my own stuff going on, because this can't be it. And I love my children. So it's good that you have a plan. Yeah.
And you know what, like I already love him so much, and I'm so excited for being a mum first and foremost. But you know, I want to work for him as well, and I want, when he grows up, to be proud of me and to see that I'm hardworking, and hopefully I can instill that in him too. But you know, who knows, when this baby arrives, I might look at him and be like, I'm never ever leaving your side.
And you will be like that for a while, and that's the love bomb, and that's the, you know, all of that flows, and all the hormones they come sometimes in crying of, I need help, I'm really tired. Sometimes it's like, no one else help my baby today because it's my baby. You're gonna have all of that, but you still in essence will discover yourself in the new year as needing to work, right? And you're going to love that, because that feeling of like, I'm doing it for him and I can't wait to get home and you're going to just be running home
literally. And I think also the one thing that I am very, very realistic about is recovery. And naturally everybody's recovery is different no matter what way your baby enters the world. And so, you know, in my head, I might have that like, oh, I'll be going back to meetings and doing it, but that may not happen. I may have a long recovery. And so I'm absolutely, you know, going to let myself have that time. I'm not going to push myself back into situations if I'm not feeling ready. And I think mentally that will be tough for me.
But isn't it amazing? We can do a Zoom in the bed. Like, you know, we can,
for sure.
You can be on emails, and like, I know I'm not trying to, but you don't actually necessarily have to be at the opening of everything.
No.
If you don't need to be, Hannah, like you can still run the empire from
my little empire.
Were you excited to find out you're pregnant? Was it a surprise?
No, we had been trying. So I was only dying to see the little positive sign on that stick. So we were absolutely delighted. And the day that I did find out I was pregnant, I knew I was pregnant. I remember I was going to get my eyebrows done. I go to a place called Poonam's in Harold's Cross, and I remember I was walking across the road and I nearly fainted. I just felt I was like, oh gosh, something's wrong here. And then I remember going into the coffee shop beside the eyebrow studio, and I got sick. And I was like, oh dear. And so I went home that night. And even before I did the test, I just had a feeling.
So it was early, or was it not?
Super early,
Super early, okay.
But it's mad, because I feel like when people find out so early, their pregnancies feel so long, but mine actually doesn't feel long at all, even though I found out probably as early as I could find out.
If you could bottle the feeling, and I say it because we had losses and stuff that happened, so I was addicted to pregnancy tests, and but still have a bit of a, when I see them in chemists, it's never a good vibe for me. I just, because I was buying so many by the I mean, you could have given me subscriptions.
Yeah.
And I have friends who'd be like, you know, you can get them cheaper on Amazon. I'm like, oh, I'm fine for the digital ones.
Yeah.
But it became hoarding them in a drawer and checking even at way before a 2-week mark. And so I think that positive, when it's the actual, like, that is, those two I've kept from both children.
I'm the same. Faded. I have them in my bedside drawer.
Completely faded. But like, that feeling could be bottled. It's the most incredible feeling.
It really, really
is.
If
you're looking to be pregnant.
Yeah, 100%. It really, really is. And it's so disheartening every time that the sign that you don't want to see comes up.
And you're actually holding it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether you did this. I'd be like,
Could it be? Yeah.
Is it light blue?
At times I was doing 4. And it's so disheartening. And every month that you get your period again, like
it's a trauma kind of,
increasingly upsetting and everything like that. But I think in the end, we feel lucky. At the time, we felt like I definitely felt like the journey was taking longer than I'd kind of anticipated or hoped. But when I saw that sign, I just felt lucky. I kind of forgot about the journey almost and just appreciated that it was the start.
Don't you?
Yeah.
It's strange. All of that falls. I mean, I had so much stuff and I remember it just kind of falls away.
Yeah.
It's very strange. People are like, gee, I'm like, no, I'm not thinking about that.
Yeah. And, you know, I find it still such a tough conversation because I suppose I'm of that age. I'm 33. And I have friends around me who are pregnant. I have friends around me who are trying. I have friends who've had very sad losses. Everybody is on such unique journeys. And even outside of my friendship group, when I go back to kind of talking about, say, the Instagram community, I'm often getting messages from people saying, can you please give me your tips on, everyone calls it like TTC, like trying to conceive. And I just feel like you can't, because
it's a minefield.
It's a minefield. And, you know, I'm not an expert in any way, shape or form. Obviously, I did a few things that I was advised on to try, but I couldn't say if that's what worked.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's really, really, no two journeys are the same. And that's why I think it can feel like such a lonely time. Lonely. And, you know, some people will say to you like, oh, just don't drink for a few months.
Or relax and it'll happen.
Yeah. And you're like, if one more person tells me
awful.
to F and relax.
Or do yoga.
Yeah, exactly. There's all these things and people mean so well. And, you know, I remember people were saying to me like tone down on the exercise and all this kind of thing. And, you know, people are, as I said, people mean so well. But at the end of the day, every body, every pregnancy journey is so different. And I think it just happens for a reason that you'll never know. Like people can say, oh, it's because I went on those supplements, or it's because I dialed down on the exercise, or it's because we literally had sex every night of the week, you know, but you'll never actually
it takes one time. So
yeah, you'll never, I don't think you'll actually ever know unless you're obviously going down the medical route.
Even, I mean, when we did a lot of genetic testing and research as to what was going on, even they couldn't answer. Like Gia was conceived, I think I was 33 as well with her. And I was partying. I was in the midst of a mad new job. It was media. I was going to the opening of every Pure event. I was working late. I was all of that kind of stuff. And I don't think I would have been super healthy. I was probably gymming too hard, drinking, eating the wrong stuff. I mean, I'm not saying I wasn't healthy enough to have her, but I wasn't super. With Simone, it was this anal, you know, I'm in my late 30s now. I'm going to do this. And we had all this drama. And I think, and I'm not religious, probably a little bit spiritual, but I think it's we don't know and we can't control it. Yes. And it's just something that's unfortunately, unless you're going to go and get, like you said, help medically and you're going to go down that route. Other than that, it is a shit show, a veritable shit show. And like well-meaning people, as well-meaning as they are, it is super lonely. You don't even know if someone's trying right now. You don't know if someone's pregnant right now. You don't know if they had a loss. Like I used to have losses in work. I'd go home and be like, treat it as a period. But it's so hard. And people would go, that just wasn't meant to be. And you're like, do you know what? So we have to be careful because it's a woman's body and it's a really tricky road. Yeah. But you're right, the loneliness does pass when you find out you're pregnant, but then there's so many people still on that.
Absolutely. And
you can't say, oh, do this, eat an apple at this time. You can't.
No, you really, really can't. And but I suppose to answer you, yes, we were trying. So I was hoping to be pregnant. So it wasn't a shock. But I suppose even when you are trying, it is still kind of a shock to process. Now, when we found out, it was not the kind of opportune weekend to find out. We were with loads of friends. We were going away. My mum, my dad lives in America, so my mum goes over and back, and they were in the States. So I needed to wait until they came home to tell them. So it was one of these like whirlwind experiences. Like I essentially found out the night before I was flying away, and you know, it was late at night. I only had one test in the house. And, you know, I'd been with Richie since I was 16.
Oh my God.
I'd fantasized about telling him I was pregnant. You know, you watch these lovely videos on Instagram and stuff.
And you wanted to be left somewhere.
Yeah, no. I go like a bulldozer down the stairs. He's emptying the dishwasher and I just burst out crying, and I was like, Rich. And he's like, yeah. And I just showed him the stick, and he's like, you okay? And I was like, I think what does this mean? And then I remember Richie drives a motorbike, and he was like, I'm going to go out to chemists and like try and find a late night pharmacy. And he couldn't. There was also, what is it with no late night pharmacies in Dublin?
Country, we're like some backward.
I know. Someone open a late night pharmacy. You're honestly going to make a mint.
If you Google, but like it's places where you not necessarily want to be. Not
honestly,
Bagot Street, Dame Street. This one.
I swear to God, he was on the motorbike going everywhere. Anyway, couldn't find any tests. So because we were going away the next morning, we were like, look, we'll go to the airport an hour earlier before our mates arrive, just so we can see if this is legit. And so I went into the toilet in Dublin Airport. I did 3 tests. They were all positive. And so we literally just had a little cheers with our butler's chocolate in the airport. Gorgeous. And then I sat on the flight and I was like, oh my God, what is life?
And then you wanted confirmation. Then I don't know if you're like me, I'm a really organised OCD person. I was ringing to get the early scans and the Marion fetal. Yeah. And I was like trying to get in with the consultant. And Jason, like, we're 7 weeks, we're 6 or 7. I'm like, just chill your boots, Jay. Yeah. So it does make you a little cray.
But it is hard to chill. And I think, you know, particularly those early scans, they are so scary. So scary.
There's nothing exciting about those scans. I'm sorry, I don't care what people say. Oh, there's a bean. I don't care. It's like, is it... Yeah. You're just so... And after all we've been through, I remember with Simone, I would just go in going, it's going to be bad. And it was 7 weeks, 8 weeks. She's like, it's... I remember her once saying, it's not detectable today. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, just today.
Oh, and words like that.
Stronger next week. What if it doesn't get stronger? Yeah. And I was so angry with them as well. And bless her. She was just doing a job.
I know.
And then 10 weeks, 11, I did start to... And I remember 20 weeks being completely fine. Yeah. I started to chill my boots. But the scans aren't great either.
No. And I think... You know, it's very, very hard to just relax in pregnancy. I think, you know, there's always these little milestones. There's the 12 weeks. Then there's the 20 week scan. Then there's if you can get to 28 weeks, then they should be totally fine. Then there's if you get to 37 weeks, they're fully, everything's great. It's hard. But I am a firm believer in, and you know, it's something I mentioned on Instagram recently, for example, like I didn't want to have a baby shower. It's just something I've always just felt a little bit kind of superstitious about. I never really want to sort of like celebrate a baby until they are here in the world in your arms. And even though I am 38 weeks now, I still don't feel relaxed. I'm like, until I have my little guy in my arms, like I just, and I know all the statistics and everything are in my favor, but I just feel there's no sure deal. Do you know that way?
Well, to caveat that, actually, I reached out to Hannah because I do find her super impressive, and I wanted her on the pod, and I wanted her to be pregnant for it, but it didn't matter if you'd come to me in 3 months because I just wanted you on the pod. And I do remember you saying something about like, I can come again when things have, and I was like, come and have this conversation. You know, what's going to happen is but like, come and have it about this as well, because this is the only time you'll be in this. Yeah. After that, you'll talk to me about, and the labour, and, you know, maybe you'll come back on someday and you'll talk about what happened or what's to be. But right now, there's a hunger in you. You have this huge career. You're heading into the unknown a little bit with labour. You're going to be holding a baby soon. But this is a very interesting time to get a woman, because everyone's always like, I'll do the podcast when the baby's here and ready. And I'm like, well, you know, talk to me about this and every mad thing that you've gone through. But I didn't want any of the showers. I was not for it. But I was a bit like that about hens and stuff. I just think, let's just and then let's go for it. Yeah,
I think as well now I'm doing like a little like a lunch with my pals or whatever, but we're not talking about babies.
No, or like
we're just going for a lunch,
and you need to be treated,
which is really, really sweet. They basically were like, Hannah, we're doing something, and I was like, okay, well look.
So hang on, you're with your husband since you were 6. Backtrack your truck. Go on. What's going on here?
So yes, I met Richie when I was 16 outside a nightclub in Portugal.
Stop it.
Yeah.
You all do it with your family or with your mates?
So I was on holidays with my mum and dad. Richie was on holidays with his mum and dad, Eugene and Valerie. And Richie's second name is Bent. So his name's Richie Bent. And I was like sitting around the swimming pool the next day after we kissed outside a nightclub.
Stop it, you kissed.
Yeah.
So you immediately fancied each other, you immediately had something.
I mean, I was probably about 40 wickeds deep at that stage. Oh, I was 16, I probably shouldn't say that. But I wasn't, I swear. But
you were just young and kissed him.
Exactly.
No big deal.
No big deal. You know those summers, they were the dream. You just kiss everyone. So I was sitting by the pool with my 2 friends who'd come on holidays, and we were talking about the night before, and I was like, oh yeah, I kissed this guy Richie Bent, and then my dad was listening, And he was like, Richie Bent. He was like, he must be Eugene Bent's son.
Stop it.
And I was like, oh my God, Dad, seriously, like, go away.
You know everybody, yeah.
So he gets his phone out and he texts this Eugene Bent, who's now my father-in-law. And
he had his number?
they were in class in Belvedere together.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
So he texts Eugene and he says,
still had his number from what? Just meet.
they're mates.
Oh, they're mates.
Yeah. So he texts him and
That's
says,
creepy.
are you in Portugal by any chance? And he was like, yeah, I am. I'm in the Algarve. So the night after Richie and I kissed for the first time, we had to go for drinks with our parents.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, very weird. Yeah, I like
So
still.
hang on, you had a kiss, but you weren't texting. This is in the back in the day when you could text. You weren't texting.
No, I
anything.
don't think we'd exchanged numbers. I can't really remember what happened. I
But
probably
the
got
parents
distracted.
Are linking it.
The parents are linking it.
That's really creepy.
They are like, oh my God, now when I look at it, I'm
This
like,
is so
I'm never
funny.
doing that to my
And
kids.
how did you? Okay, so you go for drinks. And
So we
he's
went for
there,
drinks
and
and-
you had a drunken snog.
We'd had a drunken stog,
Oh my
and
God.
I remember my mum being like, I believe you two have met. And I was like, oh, you're so funny, Jean. And
This is
so,
horrendous.
yeah, so we literally had to sit at a table with our parents. And now, actually, if I recall, I don't think the chat was too bad. But like, I was still mortified. And I remember we were dropping one of the girls back to the airport that day. And I remember my dad put diesel in the petrol car. And we were delayed, and I was like, Dad, I'm not going to have time to do my makeup before we go for dinner with Richie's mum and dad. And, you know, I was in such a bad mood. But anyway, then we just kind of hit it off.
The chemistry?
And, I'm like, do you have chemistry when you're 16?
I don't know.
I
That's what I'm
fancied
asking.
him.
Did you fancy him?
I did fancy him.
Find him the crack.
I mean, we had to work on his style over the years. But yes,
All
no, I
the
did.
sisters are like, what? We know. What?
I think he probably had very bleached blonde hair at the time, and was
Oh my God.
probably
I used to dip. I used to what's the word? The stuff that used to go orange.
oh yes,
The sun in. I
Yeah,
used
the
to
sun in.
My husband.
He was probably rocking about like 8 of those like shell necklaces and
horrendous.
stuff.
Yeah. But cool.
But
You
he
know,
was
thought
cool.
He was cool.
Yeah,
Laguna
so
Beach.
when we got back to Dublin, then we.
So hang on, you have the holiday. Kiss again.
Yes, I snuck out my window that night because I actually wasn't allowed to go out. So I used to sneak under my window to go out in Portugal every night. So I'd stuff the bed first. Me and my friends would bring wigs, and we'd put the wigs on the pillow to make it look like our hair.
This is why she's smart.
And then we'd sneak out the window. So it's totally worth it. Sneak out your window. You might meet your husband.
This is
And
amazing.
so I snuck out again that night on my own.
Yeah.
Because my girls had gone home.
Yeah.
And so I went and met him.
And
And yeah, sparks flew. And now,
Okay.
you know, we're married and
so
having a
when you got back,
baby.
Did you continue dating? Was
Yeah.
there breakups? Was there bad times? Was it all just smooth
No,
sailing?
yeah, when we got back to Dublin, then we met up. I went to Alex in Milltown, and he went to Mary's in
So
Rathmines.
the nearness and
It was near, yeah. He used to come up and meet me after school on a Wednesday.
dating in school. What age was he?
Yeah,
Older?
no, we were about the same, 16. Yeah, so
I remember these because I was in high
Yeah.
school and then subsequently your school. Like, but I remember that dating. It's so exciting.
yeah, it's wild. Like it's mad. We
So
were
you
at each
missed
other.
out all the scoring in the Wesley. You missed out all of that.
I think I got a lot in like 14 to 16, to be honest.
I wasn't going to say
Irish
but I was like
college.
the Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
ball.
no regrets.
And then
but
what? You just stayed together.
we had like a little break when we were 21. But then got back together. And I think it was like a 9-month break. But do you know what? I think that's healthy. And
It's really
I think
important.
Yeah, I think it definitely is.
Get all
and
the
then
stuff out.
yeah, so where was he? He went to America. I was working. I got my first PR job. That was like the year after college. So I was working here in Dublin. And then I did a bit of traveling that summer. And then we rekindled. And the rest is history, as they say.
That's quite incredible. So you're both 33 and you've been together that long.
Yes.
And you're married how long?
So married 5 years. And this will be the first grandchild on Richie's family. So his mum and dad are super excited.
So it's quite the love story.
Yeah.
What do you like as a couple? Are you very different?
We would be different. He's definitely a lot more, I'd say, like, you know, my mum will always describe Richie as he's such a calming force. He's so just relaxed and laid back. It wouldn't matter how bad things are. He just has such like a level head on him. Whereas I'm like, ah.
Excitement.
Yeah, I'm the
energy.
Energizer bunny.
It's important,
But look, once the man has his golf clubs, he's happy. You know, he's very easy to please.
Easy to please, excited about having his son.
Yeah,
with
he's
you.
super excited. And when we found
How's
out,
he found the pregnancy?
how's he found the pregnancy?
No, as in minding you.
He's
I
been
don't
on the
care
golf
how he
course
feels.
5 times a week.
But has he been good? Do you find he was good or has he been a bit?
No, he has. He's been wonderful, and we got a little puppy this year too called Chip, who is our original
He's
fur
on
baby.
Instagram.
He's just beautiful. I
Beautiful,
love
yeah.
him so much. I really do. I feel like if I can have even half the love I have of Chip for my child.
For your husband, she'd be grand.
Yeah, for both.
I don't know my dog, I'm going to marry you. My husband was like, you never said
I know, but he is so cute, and he's these little ginger ears, and he's just so precious. But Richie, to be fair to him, has like gotten up every morning, has done the dog.
Yeah, all the rubbish.
Yeah, no, he's definitely been a huge help. So it's been really nice.
Like, it's actually a nice story to tell. So similarly, I met my husband in kind of a funny mad night out way, and then we rekindled. But like Portugal, you'll go back there forever. You'll remember that night. There's some kind of essence of innocence actually in that.
And we go back with their families every summer, and we can't wait to take the little dude as well.
And you'd never met socialising before
that? No, never.
That's weird.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Did friends? Did you have any friend connections?
I knew a good few of his friends, and he would have known a couple of mine.
So he hung on to you tight.
Yeah, I guess so.
He didn't let anyone else. He was like, no one else is going to be kissing her in this group. Because Dublin was so incestuous.
Oh, really? It still is.
Oh, well, yeah, but I think it was bad back then. All the discos and the...
Yeah, no, I think, I'm pretty glad I've avoided the sort of the Tinder phase anyway, because I think the same people are cropping up on people's phones.
Definitely. And they're probably married, let's be fair.
Oh, gosh. But no, Richie's been great. And so, it's a really nice journey. But at the same time, because we have been together for so long. We both were getting, do you not want kids? You know, do you not want to be pregnant?
Really?
Like for so long.
Wow.
And I don't really know why people feel like they can say those things or ask those questions. But no, just because we met young, and I guess at the time I didn't feel it, but now I'm like, we married very young. I'm 5 years married.
Yes, you did marry very young.
So I think I didn't, that's just because we met so young, we fell in love, we wanted to get married. But apart from that, I don't think both of us have really wanted the treadmill life as such. We've both done a lot of traveling. We both want to continue to do a lot of traveling. And so I think it just, we wanted a few years, just us.
But you also sound like, and I love this, you want your baby to fit in with your lives. Like you want to travel, you want to take on more with this PR empire. Like, this isn't going to slow you down.
No,
that's not what you want.
No,
and you might even extend your family one day if that's who knows
hopefully, absolutely.
Tell me about your business.
So, my business is, we're based now in Dublin. I was based in London for 9.5 years. I've
always remembered you. Yeah.
So I was in London for 9.5 years, and then I guess it was, I suppose, kind of COVID time. Well, I did see myself always moving back to Dublin eventually. But I think COVID was definitely a catalyst for wanting to come home. We wanted to be near family again. And I think because, what we were talking about earlier, so much work went online with Zooms and everything like that, it kind of showed that you could work from anywhere. And I said, you know what, if I can work from anywhere, I want to be in Dublin. And I suppose my sort of USP at the agency was that I can do the PR for brands for both the UK and Ireland. So we can service two markets under one roof, with contacts and specialisms in both markets. So before, I'd been based in London and was coming back and forth to Dublin, and I said, I'm just going to switch it on its head and be based in Dublin and then go back and forth to London as needed. Because even when I was in London, I'd say at least 80% of my clients were Irish anyway. And now at the agency, it's 90% Irish and then 10% UK or other countries. So I suppose our specialisms would be fashion, beauty, healthcare, and we do a lot of event management. We do a lot of, I suppose, retail strategies for brands, helping to position them in like third-party retailers, whether it's a beauty brand who wants to go into Brown Thomas or Harrods in London, and we kind of support with that journey. We do a lot of influencer marketing campaigns and celebrity campaigns for our brands. But startup PR is something that we really specialize in. And so connecting, I suppose, with ambitious brands who come to us and say, look, we're just starting out. We've no idea what to do. They're honestly my favorite brands.
Okay, amazing.
And I remember at one point, a lady who I used to work with said to me, oh, but you'll never make any money if that's what you do. And we've proved that wrong, because there are so many ambitious brands and so many that have started at X and are now at Y. We've one brand that we work with, and they're now the leading brand in Ireland in their category. And, I think when we first worked with them, I don't think they'd ever received a piece of coverage, that way. So it's so amazing and fulfilling to be part of that journey to success, because when I was in London and when I was working for the agency before I set up on my own, to be like, not to disrespect the talent of people at that agency, because obviously there was a lot of very, very talented people. But when you're working with such recognized international brands, it's very easy to do the job of PRing them.
Because it's kind of like,
well, everyone wants them. You know, when you're doing the PR for one of the biggest diamond brands in the world, and you have a gifting budget of 100, you've a gifting budget of 150 grand a month, and you can email the editor of Vogue and say, take your pick of what bracelet you want. You're probably going to get coverage in Vogue. Whereas now we actually have to get creative. And, you know, we have clients who don't have advertising budgets. You know, in the agency in London, they might have had £1 million advertising budgets. So we actually have to work really, really, really hard. But as I said, when you see those results and when you see those brands starting to experience growth, and when you see those brands starting to be able to hire and build their teams and start to look at other markets, and, you know, we have brands that are now stocked in major retailers in America, it's incredible. And that's what I think some people maybe don't understand. They might just think, oh, like you send out a few boxes of products to influencers, but there's so much.
We know that
there's so much more that goes into it. There really, really is.
I stepped away from media for a year to work in a leading PR firm in Dublin to do kind of commercial, just to get and I remember thinking this would be really glam.
Yeah, no.
Hardest job I've ever done. And I've worked in newsrooms. I've been a i've doing lots. I've got 2 kids, which is the hardest job. But I do remember it being the most on-call, on-demand, stressful job.
It is. And do you know what? There's, like, you do a really good job for a client, or say you do like a really amazing event. The next day, it's not just, well done, that was great.
Never.
No, now it's, that was amazing. What's next? What can we do bigger? What can we do better?
I used to have such an anticlimax of running something, and the client would still have, and like, look, it's all about money. They have money to spend. They don't care that you're not their bestie. Yeah. But there'll be criticisms, or there'll be a review. Then you'd have a post-mortem. I'd be like, oh my God, I thought it was really amazing. So you have to be hard-shelled. You have to just take it. You have to see it as business. But like, you are some woman.
Oh, thank you.
You are some woman, and people in this city talk about you. You're, you know, a lady through it all. You're classy. You maintain a really strong reputation, but you are smart. And I think so many people aspire to be like that. And now you're having a baba.
Well, do you know what? I think in this industry, manners are so important, because bad manners, when it's this sort of high pressured environment and it's all want and take. I think I know for me personally, I form relationships, be it with journalists or editors or brands or suppliers I work with. We tend to go to and work with people time and time again who are nice, and they're nice people to deal with. And I think that's something that's very important to me and to my team. And I think, you know, having a good, positive, and I suppose kind take on what we do is so important. And I think, you know, there can be a lot of cattiness in this industry, and it's super competitive, particularly in Dublin. But for example, like, I admire so greatly so many of the other female founders of PR companies in Dublin. For the most part, I have a brilliant relationship with them. Business is business. Like, look, clients jump ship. It happens all the time. But there's a few of us that get on so well and appreciate that. And then there's a few that really, really don't. And I just feel I could never be like that in this industry, because it's small. You go into the coffee shop and you'd bump into that person. And I just think, you know, it's a bit like that expression, you know, be kind to people because you never know who you'll meet when you're on the way down. And I just think that's really, really important. So I think, no
assholes need apply with Hannah Saunders PR. Like, don't go near her.
No, and I think in an interview situation, you'll know if someone's an asshole.
Yeah,
I really think
I do think there's a gut instinct thing. Some people have it, some don't. I'm definitely a people judge, like, I know. And I think wait till you see when you have your kid, you become such a bear. Like, you'll see anyone with asshole tendencies, you're kind of done. You just have less tolerance.
Do you know what? Really nice. I was talking to my sister, and again, sorry, going off piece here, and I have a tendency to talk.
No, not at all. Jesus.
But she was in touch with me over the weekend. She was really, really upset. She has 3 beautiful daughters, Matilda, Maisie and Maya.
Great.
And she was telling me that 2 girls in Matilda's class started to have a conversation about Santa Claus. And she just was like, I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to, you know, deal with this. And I was like, what are their names? I was like,
weapons.
I was like, I literally marched into the school gate, and so I kind of worried for when my kid.
Hannah, that is me all over. Before I had kids, my sister has 3 beautiful girls as well. I have 2, and I remember just being like, they said, what about that? You become, and I think I've more asshole tendencies now. I would have probably been a people pleaser, but I'm on it. Like, I'm like, what happened? And I also am very genuine about, is my daughter, playing the maggot or acting that, or being kind all the time.
Oh, that's a big fear.
Saying, that's not kind, Gia.
That's a big fear of mine.
And that's important to have balance of being like, I see that someone is not being kind, but also, I cannot wait to find out how you get on. I have no worries about you in the labour ward. Whatever way happens, you're a strong ass woman. You'll be fine.
It's scary, but at the same time, I'm kind of excited for it.
It's very empowering. I don't use the word scary. Like, it's actually hugely empowering. Whatever happens, Baba's going to be good and you're going to be good. But it's quite an interesting one when you go into it. It's all nerves. You're going to come out and you are going to go, wow, I'm amazing.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of like arrogance for a while, where you're like, to your partner, no offense, we are just the stronger sex.
For a while, I'm going to be milking this for years.
You're going to be an asshole. Like, I was just like, I can't believe how amazing I am. No epidural, push this back. And like, there's no heroics, because like I had no choice. My baby came far too quickly, the first one, and I was just like, But I just remember, God, I did that. And I always thought I was such an idiot and so weak. So there's an empowerment. You'll be amazing. Yeah. And we're all watching with interest, but also just your general story. And I can't believe your love story. I never knew that.
Yeah.
Best of luck, Hannah Saunders, and thanks for making the time. Listen, this woman is 38 weeks pregnant. She doesn't look a dot of it, but also just for making the time.
It would have been exciting if my waters broke. It's one thing I can't control.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of A Little Birdie Told Me, and if you did, it would mean a lot to me if you could like, subscribe, and share this episode.